gosh, you guys. I just filmed to get ready with me, story time, and was feeling really good about it. And I got to the end and I realized, like literally when I was done and went to sit down, because I'm like, I'll go ahead and just upload this to my, or whatever, airdrop this to my MacBook, that I somehow did like a time lapse or something instead of actually recording. So it's completely useless. So cool. I could insert a clip showing you the look coming together. Maybe I'll do that because it's a really fast one, and then you don't just have to see me sitting here talking. But we are just going to have story time with Danielle, if that's okay with you guys, because it was a really funny story and I wanted to share it with you guys, and so I'm so irritated. But first I want to point out my adorable earrings that I have in from January. If you don't know, I will link up here the video that shows about the company and everything that it's about, because it's my future daughter-in-law, Noelle. She just started her own business, and so they are small batch handmade clay earrings, and these are the pumpkin stack, and they are the perfect fall, understated, but like eye-catching, just muted color palette beautifulness. And so you probably want these to wear all through November. So I wanted to go ahead and remind you about them. The link will be in the description box. I will always have her links in my description box from here on out. And you will see her website, her Instagram, her Facebook. If you guys would please go. If you are unable to make a purchase, I completely understand that. But it costs nothing. 0, 0, 0 to go over and follow her on Instagram and on Facebook, to like her posts, to comment, anything like that to help her just gain momentum with her business. I would greatly appreciate it. So if you would do that, that would be awesome. And yeah, if you do love these, I would snag them, because I don't believe she's going to restock again her fall stuff. So this is kind of your chance to head over and get it. So definitely do that if you would like to. Okay, so I will go ahead and just start by showing you maybe the little clip here of me doing my makeup. At least you can see that sped through well.
Ain't no love like a real love, but it goes so fast. All tied up like a captive. I'm on to you. Used to pay to my love life, standing on rainbows, playing it cool. I don't felt this in ages, and I've no more patience. So won't you please stay a bit longer? You're making me stronger, making me stronger. Stay a bit longer. You're making me stronger, making me stronger. You're stronger.
So my husband and I are in Traverse City right now. We are staying at the Grand Traverse Resort and Spa, and we are here because he has a tech conference that he comes to every year, and it used to be at Shanty Creek, and then last year was the first year they had it here instead. And we get to, it's basically kind of like a free little getaway for us, because the school pays for him to come to this conference, so they're paying for the hotel room already and whatever. And so I just come along and I stay in the hotel room all day while he goes to his sessions, and then in the evenings after the sessions are over, we go out to dinner and just go around the towns and stuff like that, because our favorite town in Michigan is Charlevoix. Our family all loves that town, and it's about 45 minutes from where we are right now. So sometimes we head over there and that kind of thing. Well, last night we decided, by the time he was done with his sessions and stuff, it was kind of getting later and the weather was really yucky. Like, as far as, I love the temperatures because it's definitely fall in Michigan. Hopefully you can kind of see some of the colors behind me out the window here. But it was spitty like rain, but it was like sideways because it was really windy. So it was like pelting you, like, you know how it feels like little like icy daggers or something. Like it was not comfortable. And so we're like, yeah, I don't think we want to walk around the town at all. Plus stuff was going to be starting to close and everything anyway. So we're like, we'll just find a place to eat. So we had looked up while we were here in the hotel room, like looking for recommendations for good restaurants and whatever. We came across this place, and I'm not going to call them out by name, but that has like burgers and stuff like that, and it sounded pretty good. And so we're like, yeah, that seems like a good chill kind of place, you know, to go, whatever. So I jokingly said as we were on our way, we passed like, you know, they have all sorts of restaurants on here, obviously like your chain ones and fast food and whatever, but you want to go to some place that's kind of like local and different, you know, when you're in a different city. And so I jokingly said as we passed Arby's, like, or we could just go to Arby's. And because this girl does not pass up curly fry. Nope. Chicken, bacon, and Swiss. Heck yeah. I will also take roast beef sandwich gladly. I just smother the heck out of it in Arby's sauce, like to the point where it's dripping. Anybody else? Let me know. I'm interested in knowing down below. Are you an Arby's roast beef kind of person? And if you are, do you like horsey sauce? Do you like Arby's sauce? Do you like a mix of both like my husband does? This is very important information for me to know, so please definitely let me know down below. But so that will be funny later, the fact that I said, or maybe we should just go to Arby's. So we get to this place, and we're trying to find a parking spot on the streets, and you have to pay at a meter, which is always funny to me because we don't like live around places that are like that or have that, so it's just always funny to me, like I have to pay to park on the street. Okay. And so we do. Well, my husband, he was like, a default is like 40 minutes or something, and he goes, oh, I don't know, like I don't know how long it's gonna be. He didn't say oh like that. He'd be like, Danielle, I don't say that. Why are you making me sound like a dork like that? Anyway, so he said, I don't know how long this is gonna take, so like maybe we should do more time. And so he did it for like 2 hours. And so, yeah, that was a good thing too. And so there's some really, like, you know, good things that happen along the way to make things better for later. And so we get to this restaurant, and as we walk in, there's a bunch of people right in the entry, you know, so I'm like, oh, it's busy, you know, kind of thing. So my husband said to a guy that was standing there, like, oh, do you have to put your name in or something? And the guy's like, yeah. So my husband goes up, and he comes back, and he's like, they said it's going to be like 25 to 30 minute wait or something. And I'm like, okay. And he goes, but they took my phone number, so they said they'll just text us when our table's ready, so if we want to do something else. So we were kind of thinking about it for a minute because we had talked about maybe going to a coffee place or something, but with the way the weather was and just being so uncomfortable, I'm like, now it's dark too, and like I don't know, it didn't sound real appealing to me or him, so we decided not to do that. So we're standing there and whatever. Well, there was a group of like 6 people in front of us that were together. And at one point, one of the guys turned to this one girl and was like, they just sat a group of 4 at a table for 6. And she's like, are you kidding me? And starts heading that way. Well, the guy she was standing next to, like, I think it must have been her husband or something. I just see him go, and I know exactly what that man was feeling because I have a couple family members in my life who are those kind of people who like will like flip out and complain about stuff that's really not that serious, people. Like, please don't do that. Don't be that kind of a person. Nobody enjoys being around those kind of people. And so I felt so bad for him because I could tell he was just like, oh great, you know, kind of thing. So that was kind of funny. Not funny because I felt his pain, but yeah, just don't be that kind of a person, please. Okay, so we're standing there. They eventually get seated, whatever. The cool thing about the app is, or not the app, but them texting you, they text you updates about where you're at in line, like how many parties are ahead of you and that kind of thing, and how long you've been waiting and stuff. Well, we're having, you know, people are coming in and they're telling them like 45 minutes and stuff. And so we're like, wow, this place must be really good. Like there's a lot of people and, you know, that we keep seeing come in, and people obviously are already at tables and whatever. And so we're like, cool, I think this is gonna be a good choice, right? So eventually they come and get us for our table. Now, we waited for about 40 minutes total. And I mean, it wasn't that bad. Like we were just standing there talking and stuff. Here's the thing. When you are always in a hurry for stuff, it makes you an irritable person. And irritable people suck to be around. I'm just gonna flat out say it. If you are the kind of person who's always in a hurry, cannot handle waiting for things, has no patience, you're frustrating to be around. I'm just gonna tell you, because maybe your family doesn't tell you, because like I said, I've got some family and it's like, actually I've tried to tell, but like that is just so frustrating. Don't be that kind of a person, and don't complain about things that aren't worth complaining about, like, or get upset about things that aren't worth getting upset about. There's plenty of things in life that are legit, you know, things that you should be feeling a certain way about. Save it for that. Like, not for things like how long you're waiting at a restaurant, or if someone gets seated before you. Like, yes, that can be frustrating, but it's not that big of a deal. Okay. That's just my little PSA for the moment. So anyway, we go sit down. Well, when we had come around the corner, I realized how small this place actually is. And my husband's like, oh, whoa, like, there's not very much seating in here. I'm like, oh, well, no wonder the wait is so long, because there's, not that many places to sit, right? So it's just like I don't know, like, there's wood, like, bench kind of things against the wall, and then there'll be little tables and a chair on the other side, or chairs on the other side, so they can configure the tables together for bigger groups, or just the two of us, or whatever, you know, kind of thing. And so we sit down, and our waitress comes over and gives us our menus and water, and asks if we want anything else to drink, and we're like, no, we'll just have the water. And she's like, okay. Well, actually, it took a couple minutes before she even came over there. So we had already been sitting there. The menus, we already had the menus. The host sat them down. So we kind of already knew what we wanted. And so she comes over with the waters and says, do you want anything else to drink? And we said, no, we're good with water. And she's like, okay, I'll be back in a couple minutes. And walks away, like, before we can even say anything. And we're like, okay, I guess we're going to wait a couple minutes. Like, we could have just ordered, but whatever, no big deal. So she ends up coming over, and we were kind of both going, you know, we had been kind of going between a couple, you know, don't give people too much time, because then it makes it more confusing, because then I keep looking at the menu and going, oh, well, maybe I want this instead. But so she comes over, we order our food, and I had said to my husband, because they had like some really good, most of what they had was like burgers and sandwiches and stuff, but they had like some really good looking appetizers and things like that, but a lot of like fried things and stuff like that. And I'm saying and stuff like that a lot, sorry. And so my husband's like, ooh, do you want to get this or that or whatever? And I said, actually, I think I just want something really light, because like we have this tendency when we go away places to like totally overindulge when we go out to eat. And then we get back to our hotel room at night and we both feel terrible. Like, you're just bloated and gassy and gross feeling. And like, I'm like, I just don't want to do that. And he's like, ooh, good call. Yeah, no, I totally don't want to feel like that. And so we decided we would just get our meals, right? So I ordered this turkey wrap. So it's a tortilla, turkey, bacon, avocado, tomato, red onion, and garlic aioli, which I am a sucker for some garlic aioli. So I was like, heck yeah, that sounds delicious. It'll be nice and like just fresh, you know, kind of thing. And it came with fries. And he ordered some sort of grilled chicken sandwich thing that came with fries too, right? So when the girl comes and brings us our food, she sits it down in front of us and like quickly walks away, like doesn't really say anything. And I look and immediately notice how dark my fries look. And I'm like, but then I look over at my husband's plate and he has like not very many fries. Like, I mean, I didn't have a ton, but he has quite a bit less than me. And his are like way overdone. And I'm like looking like, okay, these shouldn't even have come out of the kitchen like this. His definitely shouldn't have. And so I'm like, and I'm like, do you want to say something? And he's like, no, it's all right. I'll just drench it in ketchup, right? Well, I am like not a huge ketchup person. Like literally the only thing I put ketchup on is fries and like hash browns. And so I'm like, that was what made them edible for me. Like it made mine edible. So I knew his had to be terrible. And I'm like, is the ketchup helping? He's like, not really. And I'm like, are you sure you don't want to say anything? He's like, no. Like we are probably more to the extreme other end of not saying something. Like it's okay to say when your food comes out and it's not really, if it's not good. I mean, I have said things before if something was like cold and then they heated it up or something, but I'm never like super picky about little things. You know what I'm saying? So we're eating whatever. And I take a bite of my sandwich or my wrap and I'm like, ugh, this is weird. It did not say anywhere on the menu about it being like a grilled type of sandwich or something, like hot, like turkey wrap with avocado and you know, tomato and stuff. And like I've never had something like that be grilled. Like you could tell they like pressed it on the grill, so all the stuff in it was warm, and the meat tasted so gross because of being warm like that, because it's like real turkey but like, you know, shaped like lunch meat style or whatever. Just not good, right? So I say to my husband, I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, I don't really like this. Now you can probably hear the vacuum from they're vacuuming next door, sorry. And, or in the hallway, or I'm not even sure, but they can hear me and I can hear them. It's cool. But so I'm like, ugh, like this doesn't taste good. Like this is weird the way it's warm like this. And yeah, so I said to my husband, I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, I just don't really care for this. And he's like, I don't really care for mine either, like whatever. And so we're both just kind of like, and I go, mine's warm. And he's like, what? And I go, yeah, look, it's like they pressed it on a grill, like. And he's like, that's weird. And I'm like, I know, and it makes it not taste good. And I did not taste garlic aioli like in the slightest. I think they forgot to put it in there. And so I'm like just sort of slowly eating this, like whatever. Well, so the waitress comes over and she's like, how are things tasting? And I go, they're okay. Like literally like that. She laughed and walked away. My husband and I both just started like laughing because I'm like, okay, isn't this like, I mean, anyone who's been a server before, I haven't, but like my sister has and stuff, and like, or if you go to a restaurant, you kind of just know how this works, right? Like if there's an issue, like if you say something like that, the server like typically will say to you, oh, you know, is there a problem? Like what's wrong or whatever, you know what I mean? Like she wasn't even touching that. She just laughed and walked away. And so we're like, oh my gosh, whatever, right? So I hand my husband mine to taste it, and he takes a bite and he's like, I go, it's like the turkey tastes like dog breath or something. I don't know, like how a dog smells when it's wet or something. And he's like, that's exactly what this tastes like. He's like, no, you're right, this is disgusting. So like ever since I had the dreaded, which it'll be 2 years right after Christmas, my senses have never been bright again. So sometimes I don't know if it's like just me and my senses being a little bit off, and so maybe something is okay and it just doesn't seem okay to me. But he was like, no, like that does not taste good. That's disgusting. Like it's not even like, it just doesn't taste very good. It's disgusting. So whatever. Oh, I need to backtrack all the way back to the beginning because this was the first funny thing. We're sitting there and drinking our water, and we had been with a group of friends camping a month or so ago, and we were talking about how different water has different like flavors or like almost like a texture to it, sort of like spring water as opposed to, you know, whatever. And so, or like if you have well water or a water softener, like it changes the flavor and texture of the water. I don't know how else to say it. So when we had first sat down and she brought us water, we were drinking. I said to my husband, I go, this is really weird. I'm like, but this water is like thick. He's like, what? I go, like it almost feels like a sliminess, but not like slimy, not gross, and it didn't taste gross. I'm like, it's just like thick. It has a little texture to it. And so he took a drink and he's like, it totally does. So we had been like laughing about that. And so, okay, so now we get to whatever, we're realizing how gross my sandwich really is and everything. And my husband all of a sudden, and I had just kind of thought the same thing, like had this sort of weird realization. My husband just goes, I feel like this song, the same song has been playing for like half an hour. And I go, I was just thinking the same thing. Like, is this like the longest song ever or something? So I go, is it like on a loop? And he's like, no. And so we start listening. Oh, it absolutely was. And so we didn't know what the song was. So he like looked it up on his phone, whatever. And I'm like, I don't remember what the name of it was, so I'll put it up on the screen, but it was a Taylor Swift song. And they literally just had it on loop. The same song just kept playing over and over. How weird is that in like a restaurant where people are sitting for, you know, an extended period of time? Like, how do you just play the same song over and over? Well, now like I'm getting giggly. Like when stuff is weird or like uncomfortable or like kind of like the way I just said uncomfortable, I get giggly. Like it's just what happens. And so I'm like, well, I know Taylor Swift just came out with a new album, but I'm pretty sure there's more than one song. And like I couldn't even hardly say it because I was just like starting to laugh. Well, now my husband is starting to get like laughing because I can't stop laughing. I'm noticing a couple like across the restaurant from us. I keep seeing them look over and smile at me because I could not. I just kept laughing. I was like getting tears and everything. And so I'm like, this is just so weird, like everything that was happening in there. And then later I was like, you know what? I should have mentioned it because I said to my husband, I go, I want to ask why they just keep playing the same song, except for I don't want to seem like a jerk. You know what I mean? Like, why do you keep playing the same song? But it's a legit question, I feel like. And then but then I started thinking, I'm like, maybe they were just waiting for the first person who said like, why are you just playing the same song over and over? Like maybe I would have won a prize or something. Maybe it was like, I missed my chance. Probably not. But so my husband's like, I feel like we're in the Twilight Zone. Like, this is so weird. Our waitress was just totally like unattentive, very just, it was like everything about the place was very like mediocre. Like the personality of the staff, the food was less than mediocre, I would say. It was just very weird. Like the music in a loop. I'm like, I feel like we're being punked. Like this is just a very strange situation, right? So we get our bill. Well, the girl walks up and goes to hand my husband the bill. And I mean, it had been quite some time since she'd been over there, and he just hands her the card right away. And like, because we're like, oh my gosh, she never keeps coming back. She doesn't ask like if we want a refill of water or anything. She didn't ask if we wanted dessert. And so like, we're like, if you don't hand her the card right this second, we're going to be sitting here for another 10 minutes listening to the same song on repeat. And you know, whatever. And so we're just both like, now we just have the giggles. Like, it's just hilarious. And so this is the kind of thing I want to point out. Like, our food was not cheap. Mine was like $13. I think my husband's was like 16. Not super expensive, but not cheap either. Basically, we could have gone to Arby's for the same price or less and got our food fast, not you had to wait, and it would have been food that we knew we liked. So like that, like that's a little frustrating. We don't have like a budget for stuff like this. Like, we don't go out and spend money like that. And it's like, we come on this trip because it doesn't cost anything since the hotel is paid for, and we obviously pay mileage and stuff because it's a work thing. And so besides when we're driving otherwise, you know, like obviously they don't pay us while we're driving around to different places while we're here. But and so it's like, you know, to spend that money and have it be something not even good. Like, I never leave a restaurant without either eating everything or taking like my leftovers with me. I left like half of my food there because it was disgusting. And so, you know, that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about. You could get really mad about that and kind of throw a fit and be all irritated, whatever. Honestly, we just cracked up because we're like, this is going to be a hilarious story in memory that we are totally going to always remember. Like, we literally got back to the hotel, you know, back to this room last night and sat, and we kept like laughing. You know, it would just, all of a sudden it would catch me and I'd giggle, and then he'd be laughing because he knew exactly what I was laughing about. Like, it's how you look at things. It's your perspective. It's the way you have no control over things that happen. You do have all the control over how you react to it. And so we could have, you know, been jerks and been like, this is ridiculous. We spent this money and this food isn't even good. And we had to wait all this time and blah, blah, blah. But like, then you're just a jerk who still got bad food and waited a long time. Or you can be like, this is actually pretty dang funny. Like, in the grand scheme of things, is this serious? Absolutely not. And like, move on with your life and laugh about it. Like, learn how to laugh, you know? And so we go to leave the restaurant, and it's just, you know, like, oh my gosh. We go to step out, and we're going like left out of this restaurant. And this guy goes out right in front of us. He's like talking. And at first I thought maybe he had like Bluetooth, like he's talking, which I can't stand when people talk on those, because I always am like, what is that person doing? And then it's like, oh, they're talking on that. But like, I don't know. It's just always weird to me. But anyway, so I realized, oh no, like what he's saying, he's like talking really fast and frantic, like he's not talking to anybody. So I'm like, weird. So he turns, well, there's immediately, after you turn out of the building, there's this tiny little alleyway, and he darts down it real fast. Well, I'm like looking that way as we're walking by it, because I'm like nervous now, like, why did he just go there? And he comes flying out like right, and I jumped, but he like went behind me walking the other way, and my husband, like, you know, we're talking, I just kept looking behind me, and I'm like, I have to keep an eye on where that guy is, because he's got me all weirded out. And he's like, I know, like, what the heck? So we're walking along, and we're talking about, like, clearly he's like on something, because he was super squirrely, like moving really fast and talking to himself and whatever. And so we go around the block to go back to where we're parked, and it's dark, you know, I mean, yeah, there's some like street light things and stuff, but it's not like super lit, and there's not really many people around, or anybody actually at where we were at. All of a sudden, from like over here, the guy comes flying across, and I'm like, what the heck? Like, from where this like apartment complex was. So clearly, once he had walked away from us, he had to have gone around the block quickly to this other block to where this apartment complex was, and shot across. And so I'm like looking, and I'm like kind of hanging back, because I'm like, he had to be like running, or I don't even know what he was doing. And so I'm like, I just want to keep an eye on that guy and get in the car. So we get in the car and lock the doors, and we both were just like cracking up, like, get us out of here, because it was like just the weirdest, not enjoyable in the fact that it ended up being funny, but like it was just not, you know, what you were looking for an evening out for dinner in a, you know, in a touristy city, you know. And so we are on our way back, we went through Starbucks, and we're like, you know what, tomorrow we'll see what we want to do. Maybe we do just want to eat Arby's and get coffee and like avoid this whole situation. I don't really know. Actually right now it's 3:52. My husband gets done with his last session at 4:10, and so we are going to head into town. There's a store there that I want to go to, which is probably going to be in a vlog that's coming up. You will see like our trip here, some things about it, and then also just some little clip things, and also just some other things that have been going on this week that have been really fun. One actually that's happening tomorrow, but so that will be in the vlog that's coming up, so keep an eye out for that. You would have been seeing this makeup look, but yeah, we know what happened there. But so yeah, we're gonna go because there's a certain store that we like to go to that has like all like Michigan like clothes, you know, apparel and accessory type things. Like we got our favorite like coffee mugs are from there and stuff. And so we're gonna go there and just kind of walk around. So we're like, we'll see if there's a place that seems like it might be a good place to eat at while we're walking around, because the weather's a lot nicer today. Hopefully you can see behind me the beautiful fall colors, and the sky is blue and no rain in sight, so that's awesome. Grand Traverse Bay is right over here. You can see it like just peeking from the trees over there, which I did record it a little bit, so I will be showing that to you in the vlog and stuff. But yeah, it's absolutely beautiful here. So hopefully it'll be nice to just walk around a little bit. And if we see something we want to go to, we will. But otherwise, we might just eat somewhere that we know is safe because yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to share that little story time with you guys. And I thought it was really funny. We kept laughing about it. You might not find it as funny because you know how sometimes things like you had to be there kind of thing. I know this is something that we are both just going to think about and laugh at for years because we both were just, I don't know, we have a lot of, our personalities are a lot alike, and so things that I find funny he usually does too, and vice versa, you know, except for his love of things like Monty Python. I just can't get on board with that. You guys let me know, do you like Monty Python? I just can't do it. But anyway, so that was just my fun little story of dinner out in Traverse City, and needless to say, we will never go back to that place, and it makes you a little nervous to trust the reviews on something because it was very not anything like we were expecting. But you know, you live and you learn, and you make good memories along the way. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you again very soon. Bye.